Today's Talk About It Tuesday question is, have you ever heard of the FIRE movement? Is it really possible to retire early? Okay, so FIRE is an acronym, FIRE, for financially independent, retire early. So the question is, what is early? And so we have to look at what the average retirement age is. And in 2024, in the US, the average retirement age was 64. So the FIRE movement is a concept of retiring a decade or more, or 2 decades or more before the average retirement age. And the concept is to live a very modest lifestyle below your means, to save and invest very aggressively, and to be able to live off of either your accumulated savings and or the passive income that it produces. Not a different concept than what I've been teaching for a long time, except the very modest lifestyle. So let me just talk about the different aspects of FIRE, because they actually have 5 different types of FIRE. So they have traditional FIRE, right? Traditional FIRE is based on really being a minimalist, really having a longer term vision for living the lifestyle you want, but in the meantime, to really cut back on a lot of the frills. So you don't eat out, you live in a tiny apartment, you only buy a used car, you try to find very cheap entertainment, like you just live this real minimalist lifestyle. And you think about long-term gratification as opposed to short-term gratification. So you sacrifice now for a bigger picture or a longer lifestyle later. And the idea in the traditional is to save 40 to 70%, or save and or invest 40 to 70% of your income and live an extremely modest lifestyle. And as soon as you get enough passive income to cover your expenses, you retire. So that's traditional. And then we have what we call lean FIRE. So lean FIRE is really based on maintaining a modest lifestyle forever, right? So it's not so much about the investing aspect. So in order to invest, you got to think about this. In order to invest 40 or 50 to 70% of your income, you must be a high income earner from the start. If you're not a high income earner, this still has the same concept of living lean, right? So living far below your means, living a very modest lifestyle, living a minimalist lifestyle, but doing that forever so that your portfolio doesn't have to be super large. So if you only have a little to invest, and you can maintain that leanness forever, if you're okay with that, then you can do it that way. So that's the lean FIRE method. And then they have the fat FIRE method, which is that you can look towards increasing your lifestyle, right? You can look towards increasing your expenses, but you do it gradually. So you start out really lean, saving heavy, and you taper off the savings, but you increase the lifestyle as you go along. I guess with the concept of compounded growth, that if you had a lot early, that you can taper off and take some of that income and improve your lifestyle as you go. Then they have the barista method. And the barista method is almost the same, except you don't fully retire, right? So you do the same things, live below your means, aggressively invest and save, but with the idea that maybe you'll work part-time later on in life just for the benefits, right? Because you'll be giving up health benefits. You might be giving up, some other perks of having a job. This allows you to have extra income if you wanted to do bigger things or other things, like maybe you just use it to cover vacations, or maybe you use it for whatever, but you just have some income and you work part-time, or you have a side hustle, or you have a business where you not just own, but you actually work in it a little bit. right? So that's the barista method. And then you have what they call the coast method. And this is usually somebody who's really young, who is a high income earner, who has a lump sum of cash, and they invest a huge amount for a couple of years really early, and then sit back and coast and let it grow compounded for, say, 20 years. So if they're in their 20s, and then by the time they're, say, late 40s, that thing will have grown just because they started with a big amount of principal. So that's the coast method. So the question is, can it be done? I've been preaching this for the longest time. I actually retired, so I'm 57, but I actually retired at age 36. And I use pretty much similar to what they call the barista method. So I had a high paying job. I had great benefits. I had plenty of time off. I pretty much couldn't be fired. I was secure, but I wasn't happy having a job. So at age 36, after 2 years of really planning well, I was able to walk away from the job. And I've never had a job. I haven't had a job. That was 2004. I haven't had a job since 2004. But I do have good investments, but I also choose to work in my business, right? So I do have a couple of businesses where I do put in a few hours a day, not even every day, but I put in a few hours. I put in a few hours a week to make sure the businesses operate well. And I have my passive income streams that come in. So can you do it? Absolutely. Does it take a lot of discipline? Yes. Does it take a lot of planning? Yes. Does it take a lot of commitment? Yes. Can it get scary? Absolutely. Is there security in it? No. However, it is absolutely achievable. And different from the FIRE method, I don't believe you really have to cut lifestyle so much. You have to cut costs, right? You have to cut costs, but it doesn't mean you have to cut lifestyle. And I think the income stream that you choose, or the multiple income streams that you choose, should cover the lifestyle that you desire, because we don't know when our checkout date is. And I'd hate for you to sacrifice, and then don't get to reap the rewards of your efforts. So I believe you can cut your costs. You can find a way to live the lifestyle that is meaningful to you, that is fulfilling to you, that brings you joy. It doesn't have to be this big, painful struggle or sacrifice to get there. You just have to choose the right streams of income, which means that you design the lifestyle, see how much it costs, and then only choose those streams of income that will support that, plus give you the additional capital to do your investments. And you have to choose your investments wisely. The younger you are, the less aggressive you'll have to be. So you'll do your index funds, you'll do your dividend paying stocks, you'll do your real estate where you get rent coming in. You'll do these things, and over time, right? So you have to think of a 10-year, 15-year, 20-year strategy depending on your age, right? So you just kind of subtract from 64 and then see how much time you have, and that will dictate how aggressive you have to be in terms of your investing and your savings and your cost cutting, right? So cost cutting, again, doesn't mean lifestyle cutting. It's just cost cutting. So I'd love to hear your story. If you were able to retire early, I'd love to hear some strategies that you might be using to retire early. But please like, share, subscribe, keep the questions coming, and I'll see you next Tuesday.